You ever hear about someone talking so much they snitched on themselves, like literally just couldn't shut up and ended up walking themselves straight into a prison cell? That's exactly what happened with Dwayne Keffe D. Davis, the dude who went from flexing in interviews to standing in a courtroom for Tupac's murder. This ain't some conspiracy theory or vague street rumor. Now, this man admitted over and over for years that he helped set up one of the most iconic assassinations in music history and thought he was untouchable the whole time. Now here's the crazy part. Keffe D wasn't some random street kid. He was a real OG in the Southside Compton Crips. He had weight in the streets, ran serious game, and was connected. But that ego, it got loud. Started with a proffer deal back in 2008 when the feds caught him slipping on drug trafficking. He thought he was playing 4D chess, give them some inside info about unsolved cases in exchange for immunity. He told them about the night Tupac got shot, who was in the car, who had the gun, who pulled the trigger. He thought, I'm good, they can't touch me now. Except that deal only protected him from the feds. It didn't shield him from state charges. In Nevada, they were just sitting on that info like, bet, we'll see you later. And boy, did they see him later. Fast forward to the 2010s, Keffe starts talking even more. Dude goes on TV, sits down for interviews, shoots documentaries, even writes a whole book called Compton Street Legend, laying out the entire hit like he was pitching a movie script. He named names, told stories, made himself the mastermind, and all that I'm good, I got immunity confidence, that's what finally cracked the case. By the time 2023 hit, Vegas detectives were done watching. They raided his house, found all the receipts, digital files, interviews, even his own damn book. And suddenly this man who thought he'd never see a courtroom was sitting in front of a judge, charged with murdering Tupac Shakur. Now picture this, it's 2025. Keffe D is 60, gray creeping in, not the same man he was when he rolled through Vegas nearly 3 decades ago. But there he is, walking into court, cameras flashing, the whole internet buzzing. You could feel the weight of history in that room, 27 years of silence, broken. Tupac's family, his fans, the hip-hop community, all of them watching, waiting. And when the judge asked how he pled, not guilty. Yeah, let that sink in. This is the same man who admitted over and over that he handed the gun to his nephew, Baby Lane, in the back of the white Cadillac. Same man who called himself the shot caller in documentaries. But when it came time to face real time, suddenly he wasn't so chatty. His legal team started throwing punches fast. They said the case was too old, that witnesses were dead, that memories were fuzzy, that he had immunity. But the prosecution, they weren't having it. They said this wasn't just a cold case, it was the coldest case, and they had enough to bring the heat. They leaned on his own words. All those interviews, all that flexing, they said, cool, thanks for building the case for us. It wasn't about DNA or fingerprints anymore. This was about a man who couldn't stop talking, and those words might just be what puts him behind bars forever. And the craziest part, we haven't even touched the night Pac died. You want to talk about real tension, real betrayal, real revenge? That story's next. Las Vegas, September 7th, 1996. The MGM Grand was buzzing after a Mike Tyson fight, energy spilling out into the casino like electricity. That's where everything started. Inside that crowd was Tupac, Suge Knight, and the whole death row crew, decked out, hyped up, celebrating the win, until one moment flipped the entire night. Trayvon Trey Lane, a Mob Peru affiliate riding with death row, spotted someone in the crowd he recognized. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. That name wasn't new to them. Just a few months earlier, Anderson and some Southside Crips allegedly jumped Lane and snatched his death row chain. In that world, that's not just theft, it's public disrespect. In gang terms, it's a direct slap to the face. So when Lane pointed Anderson out, Pac didn't hesitate. He walked up and threw the first punch. Security footage caught it all. Fists flying, kicks landing, a full-on beatdown right there on the MGM casino floor. Anderson got dragged out by security, bruised, and humiliated. Death Row's crew, thinking they'd handled business, moved on. But that wasn't the end of it. It was the spark. Here's where things got deadly. See, Orlando Anderson wasn't just some random Crip. He was Keffe D's nephew, and Keffe D wasn't the kind of man to take something like that lightly. In gang culture, especially at that level, retaliation isn't optional, It's mandatory. The public stomping of your blood relative, that's a declaration of war. That same night, according to Keffe D's own admissions, a plan came together. A white Cadillac, a .40 caliber Glock, 4 men, Keffe D, Baby Lane, Terrence T. Brown, and DeAndre Freaky Smith, all Southside Crips, all ready to handle business, while Pac and Suge rolled out in their black BMW, heading toward Club 662 for the after party. That white caddy started hunting. Vegas was lit up with neon and night traffic, but around 11:15 p.m., everything slowed down at the intersection of Flamingo and Koval. That's when the Cadillac pulled up next to Pac's ride. In a flash, shots rang out. 4 bullets ripped into Tupac's side of the car, chest, arm, thigh. Suge caught some shrapnel in the head, but somehow managed to drive off, swerving through traffic with 2 blown tires. Police caught up to them fast, ambulances came, sirens, chaos. Pac was rushed to University Medical Center, where he fought for 6 days. Fans gathered outside the hospital, news channels camped out, the hip-hop world held its breath. But on September 13th, 4:03 p.m., Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead. He was only 25. The loss was massive. Not just because he was famous, not just because he was talented, but because he was Tupac, the voice of a generation, the rebel poet who could make you think and make you feel. A man who stood for more than just bars and hooks. His music talked about pain, politics, survival, and the system, all from the perspective of a black man in America. His words weren't just lyrics, they were lived experience. And now he was gone. The investigation, sloppy. Witnesses went silent. The white Cadillac disappeared into the night. The street code kept people quiet. And somehow, even with all that casino footage, all that chaos, nobody got charged. Anderson, the suspected trigger man, died in a separate shootout 2 years later, and for decades, Tupac's case stayed cold until one man couldn't stop bragging, couldn't stop telling the story, couldn't stop trying to turn street legend into personal fame. And with every sentence, he unknowingly brought the spotlight back to that fateful night in Vegas. After the smoke cleared and Tupac's body was laid to rest, the streets kept whispering. Everyone had their own version of the story, but no one had the full picture. Cops couldn't build a solid case, witnesses vanished, suspects died, and Keffe D, he just kept living his life like the laws of the land didn't apply to him. By the time 2018 rolled around, he wasn't just living, he was talking. That year, he popped up in a Netflix documentary called Unsolved, giving the most detailed public breakdown of the murder anyone had ever heard. He described being in the white Cadillac, admitted handing the gun to Baby Lane. He didn't sound nervous, he sounded proud. Then came the book, Compton Street Legend. If his interviews were a confession, this was a full-blown biography of guilt. He laid it all out, how he got the gun, who was in the car, how the shots were fired. Even dropped street-level details no one else would have known unless they were there. At that point, the book felt less like a flex and more like evidence gift-wrapped for the prosecution. The arrogance was wild. Keffe D genuinely believed he was safe because of the proffer deal he signed back in 2008. He thought that agreement covered everything, even his future crimes of running his mouth publicly. But the truth was brutal. That deal only protected his statements to federal authorities during that specific investigation. All the interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and YouTube rants after that, fair game. So in 2023, Vegas police made their move. They raided his home, seized phones, computers, even a copy of that book. They weren't just chasing ghosts, they were building a case around his own damn words. The grand jury didn't need much convincing. They indicted him for murder. Almost 3 decades later, the most high-profile cold case in hip-hop history was suddenly boiling hot. Then came the courtroom drama. Keffe D's lawyers filed motion after motion trying to get the charges dropped. They said too much time had passed, that key witnesses were dead, that his constitutional rights were violated. They even argued the proffer agreement still protected him, but the judge wasn't buying it. She shot down every attempt to dodge trial, and just like that, Keffe D was staring down a murder charge that could put him away for life. Things got more chaotic in mid-2025. He swapped out his legal team, bringing in heavyweight attorneys known for handling high-profile cases. That move raised eyebrows. Was he preparing for trial or trying to cut a deal? Either way, the pressure was on. Prosecutors were confident. They had Keffe D's interviews, his book, crime scene photos, old testimony, and the cherry on top, his own mouth, talking himself straight into a prison cell. This case isn't just about justice for Pac. It's about the culture, the streets, and how the need for status can lead to self-destruction. Keffe D could have faded into history, uncharged, untouched. But ego doesn't retire quietly. He wanted credit. He wanted to be known as the man who orchestrated the hit that took out Tupac. Instead, he became the guy who solved his own crime for the police. For fans, family, and hip-hop historians, this trial means something. It's not just about punishment. It's about closure, about truth finally cutting through the noise. Tupac's voice might have been silenced that night in Vegas, but if this case proves anything, it's that justice, even delayed, can still speak loud.